There are 3 absolute truths to productivity. Number 1, if you know you're not going to do something well, then don't do it. Don't even waste your energy, right? Your presumed energy attempting to do something you're not going to do well. I feel like sometimes when we are trying to be productive, we don't think about the end point of why we're trying to do certain things. Why are you doing something? Are you studying because you want a certain grade? Or are you studying why are you doing it in the first place? And I used to be like this, right? You're studying all the time, but you're never getting something tangible. And I remember, like, when I was doing my A levels, right? When I did my AS levels, I got 3 A's. When I did my A levels, I got 3 C's. But you know what was the problem? It was that the times that I would study, I wouldn't do dedicated study. I would study all the time, but I was never dedicated. I could never tell myself, this is a topic I know. Like, this is a past paper I can fully do and say I can get an A in. Right? There was never that. There was always just half doing it, right? So many people do things that are half done. So many people have ideas and dreams, and you start it and you never finish it, right? So if you know you are not going to do something well, then don't even bother doing it. It is better that you go to, you take yourself on a trip to somewhere else and you actually enjoy your life. Because a lot of us, we lose a lot of life, lose a lot of opportunities to bond and meet new people because we're busy at home studying, but none of our studying is leading to anything. Why waste the value of time? Because again, time is valuable. We will never get that time again. So the first principle, if you know you're not going to do something the way it should be done, you know you're not going to do it well, then don't even waste your time. And building on this is the second principle. Do things that you know are valuable to you, because you'll never do anything to its full capacity if that thing is not valuable to you. Why go and do a course, take that upon you to do education, but while you're in education you don't even take it seriously, right? Why are you're wasting your years? So many people wasting their years. You don't want to do that thing. You're just, you just believe you need to do that. You're just doing what you think everybody else should do, or is telling you that you should do. And the truth of the matter is that it's your life being wasted. Nobody else's life is being wasted by your choices. So if you know that something is not valuable to you, then don't do it. Instead, ask yourself, what is valuable to me, and chase that thing fully. Because you'll never succeed at something you are not passionate about. You'll never succeed at something that doesn't have value in your life. You'll never succeed at anything that you don't even care about. And why would you, waste, like, for instance, a degree? Why would you waste 4 years of your life knowing that you want to make money? Why wouldn't you do vocational training? Why wouldn't you take another route? Because and this is something so important that a lot of people don't recognize, there are so many routes to life. You have so many, infinite choices. You have infinite variables that will determine, right, where you go in life. But the one independent variable, your choices. The one independent variable that will determine how the scale of your life will look, how the graph of your life will look, whether you'll achieve what means something to you, is your independent choices as a variable. Do not waste years of your life pursuing things for somebody else. Do not waste years of your life, right, questioning whether you should do something when deep down you know that thing is not yours. So why are you doing it? Why are you wasting the value of your years? Go for what is valuable to you with your whole heart. No matter what anybody says to you, go for it with your whole heart. Because I promise you, the product of effort, meaning, and goals is achieving your dreams. It is a lot easier to achieve your dreams than you think. The only reason that you think it is not is because you've never done something fully. You've always done things half done. Why? Because you were not passionate about those things. You didn't care about those things. You were told to do them. There's many routes to life, but you better not pick the one route that wastes your life. If you know that relationship is not giving you full fulfillment, if you know that degree is not giving you full fulfillment, if you know that your life is not giving you full fulfillment, then make a different choice. Take the independent variable so that the dependent variable will change. And then you get a multiplication, you get the sum of what you want, you get the product of what you want. And then lastly, the third step or principle of productivity: set deadlines. Do not start something you know you're not going to finish because you've not set a deadline for it. And a deadline doesn't mean by the age of 25, by the age of 32, I would have achieved this. No, a deadline means, right, intentionality. A deadline means that by this date, I know I have showed up for myself in this way. And I may not be able to guarantee the outcome of my actions. I may not be able to guarantee that this goal that I have set is going to immediately instantaneously give me what I want. I cannot guarantee the outcome, but I can guarantee the input. I can guarantee that I did my part. You need to look at your life like a brand. Like you're building a brand image. And I love this example because a brand image is made up of brand association. Who you are and the image that you have outwardly. It's a brand image. People can tell how much work you put in, how much time, how much effort, how much you care. Everybody can see these things, right? So if you want other people to perceive you in a way that in 5-10 years they can call you and say, this is the biggest opportunity of your life that I want to give you, and that will happen if you're always putting your best foot forward. Anything that you touch must be so unique. It must be touched by you. People must know the difference between your work and everybody else's work. It can never even be the same. The level of effort that you put in is here. You know that your standard of yourself and your requirement, and when people open it, they can say, like an artist signs their signature, everything should be signed by your brand image. Everything should be signed by your presence. Everything should be signed by the effort that you put in. And this is why I go back to the 2 other principles. Don't start things that you don't want your name to be signed to. Do not start things that you do not want your signature to be on it. Everything that you publish in this world, everything that you put out, any work that you do, you must be okay with that thing being associated and signed with you. And this will force you to refine your character, refine your ways, and refine and put in the work in. Because it takes hours for you to be okay with having a brand image of a certain thing. For me, I am a big believer in, if you're going to be a productive person, or if you're just going to do anything in your life, do things that mean something to you and you know are not wasting the years of your life. Because you'll never get time back. You'll never get time back. I see a lot of people not chasing their dreams. And I ask myself, right, do you know that these years that are passing out, you're not going to get that time back? Like, I would rather be a fool on the internet, chasing what I believe is true and chasing what I believe is what I want for my future, chasing my goals and dreams. I would rather look like a fool amongst people that I used to know, or amongst people on the internet, amongst anything. I would rather look like a fool chasing the thing that I love, then look like a fool not chasing those things, trying to stay comfortable, trying to fit in. I would rather be the person who stands out and shows, small girls that this is possible. Because for me, I also used to look at mature women when I was a kid and say, this woman inspires me. And there's so many women I look up to today who are willing to stand out, that empowered me. And I remember how everything that they did, they signed it. From their perfume to their consonants, to their vowels, to the way that they spoke, to the way that they dressed, to even the edges were done. And every woman I watched when I was a young girl, maturing, inspired me to be a better version of myself, to refine myself. So again, we must, if it means something to you, then do it. But if it doesn't mean something to you, and this is more emphasis even more on what doesn't mean anything to you than what does, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't waste your life on things that don't mean anything to you. Because I remember reading this book. It was a research paper done by an Australian woman who did palliative care. Palliative care is basically like care that is given to people who are on their deathbed, right? And there were 5 specific lessons that this woman learned, right? And a lot of them were people in regret. They regretted that they wasted their time not spending it with people that they loved and their family. They regretted not chasing their dreams because they cared too much about other people's opinions. They regretted, just that valuing the moment, not not being so fixated on work. And if you get a chance, you can search that paper, Australian Woman Palliative Care, and the lessons from people who are dying, right? I'm sure you'll be able to find that paper. It's not long. It just has a summary of the things that she learned, and then she put it into a book. And I read that paper in 2023, and it changed my perspective on life. Because, that time when I wasn't in education actively, a good 3 years after high school, there were so many perspective changes that I experienced as a person that made me realize that, like, look, I don't need to work all the time. I need to work intentionally for a few hours of my day on things that matter to me. And yes, there are days when I have to work long hours, and yes, there are days that I have to work a few hours. But I am not going to damage, right, the image of this memory that I'm building with other people because I am too busy swiping on my phone, worrying about, whether the stock market is falling or going down, and I am in a bad mood and putting that bad mood on somebody else because I'm too concerned whether the real estate market in Kenya is doing well or not, right? You see, these things take away from the moment and the value of time. Because one thing I've learned from the value of time, I remember I remember being with my grandfather, right? And I remember how much I loved being with him. But my grandfather, both of them are dead, right? They're dead now. and I will never have that time back with them. But I remember how much it was to have that person's presence here. I remember how much, fun and all the small things about my grandfather, how he used to bring sweets, how, he was in the World War II. These are things I remember about him, every time he was excited and he'd wait for us when we would come all the way from Nairobi to the coast, to see him, and how he would wait past midnight. There's so many memories I have of my grandfather, and the only memory I have of him and my, um, of him is it's pictures. It's through pictures now, and the memories that I have in my mind and what my mind remembers. But I will never get that moment back again in my life. And that reality of recognizing that, that death is it's guaranteed, in the omnipotency of this, of God, right? There's that truth that, something else beyond us determines our lives, and determines when things will end and when other people's lives will end. We don't know these things. So instead of costing ourselves the enjoyment of that moment, because there is enjoyment in intentionally working on your dreams, there's enjoyment in intentionally being the person you wanted to always be. When I am intentionally working on something that I know means something to me and I'm passionate about it, and yes, it may be challenging, but I always remind myself, because it means something to me, that this is something I really want to pursue, and I'm not willing to give up on it, and I'm willing to crawl my way to the end. It's meaningful. And then I think that's the point of life. So again, if you're going to do something and you don't want to do that thing, don't waste your time. If you're going to start something and you're not going to do it well enough, you're going to half bait it, whether it's a degree, whether it's a relationship, don't do it. Don't chase a job that is going to steal your soul away from you. It's better to stay with your soul and start selling things online, right? Than to go into a business that will waste 10-11 years of your life, because the more time you stay there, the harder it is to leave. That goes for relationships that are wrong for you. That goes for careers, choices that are wrong for you. You can always change, but the longer you stay in a position, the harder it is to change. And what I'm telling you about the mediocre effort, when your effort is mediocre, you have to keep going back, right? You have to keep going back. You have to keep going back to that job, because you never really put all that effort in for you to have a good reference letter. So now you're indebted to your CEO, the CEO of the company that you're working for. You're indebted to him. Why? Because you never put all the effort in to allow yourself to have an incredible, CV. You don't have that now. And it never meant anything to you, but now it is costing you more and more and more, and that debt continues accumulating. This is for anyone. It doesn't matter whether you're young or you're old. Just make the choices that you need to make for the tomorrow that you want. Even if tomorrow is not instantaneous, tomorrow is a wider range. It's a wide range of things, what tomorrow means, right? It's subjective, but there's a wide ranging meaning of tomorrow. Tomorrow doesn't mean just tomorrow, right? That's the base level, the actual meaning. But tomorrow means long term. Who do I want to be? What life do I want to live? What will my kids say about me if I have kids? What will people say about me when I'm dead? This is also tomorrow, because tomorrow will come faster than you all think. So if I was to give the 3 principles of productivity that have changed the way I perceive my choices, my life, that has radically improved my life, it's those three principles, and those 3 principles of life, principles of implementation, principles of productivity.